What's up, everybody? CJ here, and this is going to be a game from Uzi or Uzi, however he likes it to be pronounced, on the Chinese server playing Lucian. The reason why I wanted to take a look at this game in particular is that Uzi is known for incredibly strong microplay on AD carries, as are most Chinese AD carries. So I feel like it's going to be, there's something to learn from it. I lightly watched this replay last night, and I ended up recording it on VLC, so we'll just go through it now. So he's playing Lucian, and maybe he'll bring up the scoreboard. So let's just evaluate the scoreboard a little bit. Both junglers are on the semi-tank utility spectrum, with Ivern and Gragas. Gragas going for the engage and Ivern more defensive play. For his lane in particular, it's Kalista Thresh versus Lucian Tom, and depending on what you want to do, you can typically gank for the Thresh lane at level 2, because Kalista will pick up E and Q, doesn't really need W too much, just damage, and Thresh will pick up Q and E by level 2. If you want to have Lantern available for some type of Ivern movement play, then you'd wait till level 3 to gank bottom. Similarly, Gragas could gank bottom at level 2 when Lucian has QE and Tom has QW. But maybe you want the Lucian W for the move speed or something like that. Alternatively, Gragas has a level 2 or level 3 gank top, level 3 with W slow, level 3 gank mid with QE W slow, and Ivern has a level 3 top. You want to have your W and your E on Rumble, but you're going to skill Q early. And Karma, same situation. You're going to go QEW most likely. So it looks like both junglers looking to route to level 3 unless they want to make some interesting earlier plays. And a small note about the Tom versus Thresh matchup. The Tom Kench is known in China as the light counter to Thresh. It's not a hard counter because you're obviously a melee versus range, but if Thresh hooks the Lucian, then you just eat the Lucian, and if Thresh hooks a Tom, then you should be okay in most scenarios since you're Tom Kench. So the Tom Kench pick is really a counter pick to the Thresh in the Chinese server. Also 2 TPs to 1 CP. And it looks like Gragas is going to open with Raptors, so we don't know what side Ivern's going to start, but Ivern has some interesting routes that he can take. Gragas, oh wait, looks like the invade is coming. Looks like they're going to walk away, or they're going to watch, and the hook goes really, really wide. Okay, so right away we know that Thresh took Q, which means that the level 1 trading situation is a lot stronger because Thresh's auto isn't getting enhanced by the E passive. So right away it's going to be really strong, and they just open check the try because there's no way they can be able to try and invading. Looks like Gragas is going to open up with blue. Probably because they thought that Gragas started top because he didn't appear top, or he didn't appear in the bot side jungle. But maybe Gragas wants to mind game a little bit by starting the bottom side. Because it didn't look like Gragas was on the bottom side. And it looks like their bot lane didn't leash, and their top lane didn't leash. Obviously, they're not going to leash because it's Ivern, so we still don't know where Ivern started. But the fact that Gragas was top and Ivern didn't do any type of cheesy invade, and shows up bottom side means that he probably didn't open with a invade. So yeah, this is the typical starting situation. The ranged advantage here, getting the push. Additionally, the fact that they had to leash, so they're going to have to play very safe. These 3 minions are going to be very dangerous because the level 2 is going to come in. So they're just going to have to concede a little bit of CS, take it under turret. Okay, and they move back. As per standard, you guys should all know how to play level 2s by now. It's hit by Q, so you get hit by 2. And you get 1 CS. Tom's going to pick up 1 because you can't pick up both. And Thresh roams mid here. So when Thresh roams mid here, you're going to be looking to make a play at this level 2 spike right here. So Thresher's mid, so you're just Now Callista can't farm because Thresh is mid, so you're in a 2v1, right? So Tom is moving up to the front brush to a zone, and very solid CSing coming out here. You want to thin a little bit because you want to keep the wave over here so that Callista doesn't have a safe situation. Because of the Thresh roam, you want to punish Thresh for roaming, so you want to freeze a little bit, deny some CS. And you're going to keep the wave here. So far, pretty standard, pretty solid game. You got this. Okay, so Thresh is low, so the 2v2 should be a win here. And there, he chooses to auto the Callista, because Callista trade flashes with Tahm Kench. Gets hooked, and now he's just posturing forward to defend his Tahm Kench. He has D-shield, so he's perfectly fine. Gonna get another trade back. Flays goes wide. Hits 3, gonna skill second point into Q here. And now look at the HP values. The enemy HP values are really low, while Lucian and Tahm Kench's HP values are high. So it's in a really shitty spot for Callista, because if Lucian slow pushes like he is, then he's gonna be in a diveable position because the wave is gonna be big. Alternatively, like any situation is gonna be bad for him because of the Thresh roam. He's gonna be behind in levels. So we see Gragas invading on the left side and looking at the Rumble. Mid is missing though, so we have to be careful of that. Karma comes back mid, and this is just lol. This is just a situation set up. He's got to pick up W at level 4, and you see how he's posturing forward, so that if Callista goes to the upper area, then she could be hit. Iron's here though, so they're gonna be backing off. They should be okay. Tom's not gonna die, and Callista kites in. So Callista kites down. We still have both Summers. And we're probably gonna pick up the Callista here. And Tahm Kench is really tanky. Now they have no more damage. Not gonna be able to get the W from Tahm Kench off. But they went too aggressive. So that's the lead that they built up. The big wave that they created also created a level lead because Thresh left the lane. And looks like it's probably gonna be a shove base. He has 1400 gold. So if he CS's this perfectly, he's probably gonna go for the Bilgewater as the most standard pick. But he could also go for the BF sword, depending on what he wants to do here. So really solid lane phase coming out, using his heal once to heal the Tahm Kench. Punishing the Thresh for the Thresh roam and taking over the lane situation. So he is gonna go for the BF sword, and this is something I've seen a little bit more as a snowball. So if you think about it, both items, Bilgewater and BF sword, snowball pretty well. One just has more AD. But you think about the overarching builds, and if you're going BF sword, you're going Essence Reaver, and if you're going Bilgewater, you're going Bork. And the one better for a late game is obviously Essence Reaver because it's a crit oriented build, while Bork is more, you know, what's good right now, and you can transition into PD, Rapid, or Cleaver. But he's ahead, so maybe he decides that he's going to go for a more carry-oriented build. So Thresh is on mid left center again, and so it's a 2v1 bot, so he has a clear freeze that, you know, there's nothing Callista can do about it. Callista has been abandoned by the Thresh because Thresh abandoned him at 2, which means they can see the lane. So this is a very clear freeze. And, you know, it's really easy to just snowball the game from this point on. He's got to go and protect his Tahm Kench, W the minion. Tahm Kench backs up, and so it's level 5 to level 4 to level 4 to level 4. So now that Thresh is back, he's going to thin a little bit, because if he tries to fight in all these minions, it's going to be too much. So you see him thinning down the minions, but you don't want to thin too much. You want to thin just enough so that you have equal or slightly less than the opponent. And they're edging them off it. You still have more minions than them, so it's still going to keep the lane position that it's in. Now the wave's going to build to do a slow shove back. Now, see, this is very interesting, because this is what I like about a lot of the best AD carry players, is that you know how to position the wave in a situation that's profitable for you without being too greedy with the wave, right? So the wave is just stuck here, and it's going to shove back slowly, but he's not being greedy with it. He's not, okay, I'm going to freeze it. He says he's going to turn into a slow shove. He's not getting too greedy, but he could very well just have tried to freeze it all. Here comes the slow shove. The level 6 is going to come in soon. So it's going to be 6-5 to 5-5. And it looks like he's going to go for a play here. He autos and goes for the ER, gets the chunk, Gonna get a combo off on the Thresh, get W auto. It's hooked, and then there's a Tom W, the Devour counterplay. And so I like this a lot. Just using ult as proactive damage. A lot of people think that the ultimate should be used to like go for a kill, but you see this a lot with the higher level players, mostly from like Orianas and whatnot. Is that they'll just use ult to pressure the lane to get damage to force them off the situation, to force them off the turret. So it looks like Tahm Kench's got ult, but Karma's coming down. The tower dive does seem a little overwhelming. Okay, so Karma takes the Blasting Cone over, and then Flash is to the left. Gragas is here, but Gragas is low on mana. We're low on health here. And we're going to heal our Gragas. We go for autos. Now we're going to collapse on the Kalista because Syndra gets some extra autos on it. We get the Devourer. Does she get the Lantern? No, there's a pink ward right on top of it. So good pink ward coming out to be able to deny the Lantern take. And this seems like a pretty clear shove base situation. Tahm Kench is going to get the cannon minion, pretty standard. And so yeah, going back to my point, so using ultimate just as a poke tool to threaten future dives is really, really strong, and something I don't see enough out of the mid-tier, you know, players. But you'll see it at higher levels. You see Orianna Shockwave just used for poke to half health them, and then that threatens invades, that threatens, you know, lane situations. It's gonna go for the Caulfield's Hand. We're pretty standard. Not gonna pick up another pink ward because he's getting value from the pink ward at the Krugs, and decides he doesn't want another pink ward. Saying 80 no flash. And he had a decision to sell refillable to get a dagger to transition into his attack speed item or into his tier 2 boots, but he decides not to. I'll clear off a ward. So Ivern's warding the right side. Yep, there's Ivern and Karma in the river, so he's got to play a little safer here. There's Thresh, there's Ivern. So now Ivern retracts his Raptors, he's got to play up again. So it's 6-6 to 7-6. Gets the flay off. Gets a little bit of damage up. And you see he clicks on Thresh and sees that he has Moby Boots. This is a very common thing from Chinese Thresh players, is that there's no counterplay to Thresh walking up and just flaying you with Mobies because he's allowed to just walk up to you. If you auto Thresh, or if you turn to auto Thresh, he'll get the flay off. And so it's just a really strong move by Thresh to go for an earlier move. You see, again, not going for a kill, just ulting for pressure. Half-healthing the Kalista, turning the situation into a non-turnable situation. So like, if Ivern goes for this gank, there's high turn potential, right? Because let's say that Ivern goes for the gank. Well, you can't ult and do your, you know, auto Q, WE combo or whatever, right? And ult at the same time. So if you just front load the damage, then you're going to 100% be able to use your other spells. But if you wait until the gank to ult, then you can't ult and then auto and do other stuff at the same time. So front loading is really, really strong. Looks like he's going to turn this into a shove. I'm not sure if I agree with this. He's going to take out the ward. And the reason why I don't agree with the shove is because the positioning is obviously really, really bad for Thresh Kalista here, because it's 7-7 to 7-6. Outside the fact that they have item advantage. But looks like he's going for a slow push. And there's a couple of reasons for this probably. Pushing obviously puts more pressure on the map than doing some type of a freeze. And a slow push like this can build the way for potential dives. Another reason might be he's about to hit level 8, so you might go for a level 8 power spike move. And by slow pushing, he's going to hit 8 in a way where the wave is going to be disadvantageous for him. So, for example, let's say they froze and Kalista got EXP, then maybe she would hit 8 first. So this way that maybe he hits 8 and then he gets harassed before Kalista hits 8. So another reason to slow push is to take use of EXP advantages in the push scenario. He's not, like, he can play so far up because Tahm Kench can devour him. He's going to get the CS, and he's going to get some nice poke. And using ult right away again. He's low on mana here, though. Going to get some autos on the turret. And then, yeah, nothing Thresh can do here. So maybe that's why Thresh opted to roam so early, level 2 and level 4. Is that the situation was such that maybe they can't win the lane after the... Maybe he just didn't want to play the lane because it's a light counter matchup. Looks like they're going for the turret. Looks like Thresh bases, so they're going to have a clear concede. Ivern's on the bottom side, but Gragas is also matching to be able to get the kill. And it's going to be the turret. Looks like he's going to ping him back to get solo gold. He's going to be back. And he lets the wave freeze back. So this wave is going to freeze back to him. Alternatively, if he had pushed the next wave, then it would be in a situation where Kalista could freeze. So maybe he doesn't want the situation where Kalista could freeze. He's going to go for the Zeal instead of the tier 2 boots. Both have the move speed advantages. Obviously, Zerkers gives slightly more move speed, but Zeal gives move speed and the crit value, which is also going to turn into value from CDR, from Essence River. So Kalista recognizes that the wave is going to shove back, and so she tries to shove it right away. Can't go for the next wave. So he does have a potential freeze here. Will he opt for the freeze or not? It's hard to say. This is the cannon to go for the play on the Kalista. Gets the Kalista flash. It looks like he's just going to shove. This isn't a thin, because if he wanted to thin, then he wouldn't have taken so many. So, looks like he's got shove. And it seems like the only time he really froze was at the level 2, level 3 situation. Outside of that, he opted to do a slow push or some type of a shove to create map pressure, right? To create dive scenarios, to create pressure scenarios, to deny CS, to create a situation for a Gragas or a situation for a base. So, it really looks like the initiative to freeze wasn't really there. Maybe it's because he realizes that his team needs him and needs some of his map pressure, because he needs to carry the game because maybe Jarvan isn't doing so well or Syndra isn't doing so well. So, wow, that was really interesting. So he unfroze, shoved, got all that golden EXP, went mid, shoved, got all that golden EXP, and I'll talk about it in a second. He's got to go for the Thresh autos. Gonna go for the straight culling, gonna pick up 1, gonna pick up 2. Okay. So, I want to call this aggregation of resources. If you, let's say, unfreeze, like, you take all that freeze, you could have frozen, right? You take all that gold and all that EXP from the potential wave you could have frozen, and you shove it, and then you go mid and you shove that wave. You compare that to a freeze you could have done, right? Let's say you do a freeze, right? Well, you're still going to get the same amount of resources you would have gotten bottom, except you're going to create a gap, right? You're going to deny the Kalista the resources by freezing, right? But this way, by pushing and then getting another wave mid, your actions are twofold. One, you're not just getting the EXP and gold you would have gotten from that one bot wave, you're also picking up 1 extra mid wave. So you're aggregating your state of gold. At the same time, you're giving Kalista gold, but you're getting more gold than she's going to get, right? So one way creates a gap by denial, and this other way creates a gap by aggregating the state of gold by getting more gold from mid lane. And also, obviously, you pick up pressure because you're going to the, to the top fight, you're picking up the top turret, you're doing other things. So you have to really decide, do you want to deny, or do you want to be in a situation where you can pick up a little extra? And I feel like if you're a better player, then you should be picking up extra gold, right? You should be going for the bot shove and picking up the mid. This is a pretty straightforward kill. Let's go use the coin. So he picks up the bot wave and the mid wave, and all the pressure he goes by getting top and the top turret, as opposed to freezing bot, and then that'll have a denial. So you kind of have to like run the numbers in your head. You have to be like, okay, what's gonna be a better net profit? Me getting all this gold, or me getting some gold and not denying him gold, or the Kalista gold. It looks like they got the turret, so now they're gonna get tier 2. They got the rumble kill. Jarvan's on defensive duty. And it looks like they're just gonna get a clean second turret. So these are some of the mechanics to snowball the game. Know how to abuse the lane to the maximum potential, right? Use every level advantage. You saw him use a level 5 advantage, use a level 6 ult ASAP, use a level 8 trade. Use another ult after that. Abuse Thresh for roaming. Aggregating the state of gold that he has, and by taking the bot and mid instead of doing a big freeze. Sure, Kalista will get some EXP, but you're going to get more. Rotating for the mid, for the top turret. Syndra getting the mid turret. Getting the tier 2 turret. Getting the Herald. And so, talking about the build, insofar as he's going Essence Reaver, it's perfectly fine to go static, because static rapid PD. But like if you were gonna go PD because you're scared of dying, you might as well have gone Bork anyway, right? So it's pretty much always static or rapid. But why would you need rapid for longer range? Like if you're not scared of them killing you, so you can just move up. So static is probably the best option. He's probably gotta pick up boots. And he could go for the QSS or he could go for the BF sword here. Opting not to go for the QSS probably because he has Tom Kench, and the Thresh Hook and the Iron Q doesn't really matter as much with Tom Kench there. And so there are two outers left here, so he can opt into mid or bot, but probably wants to lean on the mid or bot side for sure because of the dragon coming up. Looks like they're going for this invade. Looks like he gets a donation. And so this BF sword could go for a GA, but if you thought you were going to die, then you would have built otherwise and Bork anyway. So this BF sword most likely going to go to IE. And BT is also a defensive item, effectively. So they're eating their bottom side jungle. Popping them. Jarvan does have ult here, so they can lock, and Jarvan ults. Flashes out from Ivern, gonna kill Daisy, gonna get a couple autos here. Gonna use an ult. Okay. Tip by an E. Quite a bit of damage. We get Rumble ulted. Burn the heal to get away. Fine. Just gotta auto that for some reason. Okay. Oh, Ballista flashes in. He's gonna stay alive. Gonna pick up the Ivern there for some reason. Flash Q auto. Okay, gotta pick it up. And here he's probably gonna pick up the bottom turret. Syndra's gonna answer one wave mid. And it's just the mechanical prowess of Uzi that has led him to be such a big threat for such a long time. He's gonna take the Krugs because he's probably like, Gragas, you're my tank, that's all you're good for, or whatever. So I end up taking the bottom turret, probably. And you see he's really quick on his mouse movements. He has good macro awareness, good micro awareness. His build is a little interesting. Go sell the refill pot for the IE. Looks like it. And he did go Zerkers. So he's got 70% CDR, or crit, so I don't know what he's going to go for next, really. So they have all 6 outers and inners. And it's 21 minutes in the game, so they can probably start playing around Baron Vision, which is why everyone's on the left side. Pick up Raptors on the way to the left side skirmish. Says he's on the way. Flash over from Rumble, so let's just go back mid. Get a shove going. Skirmishing, Jarvan goes really ham. Ult's gonna proc the passive to pick up the Ivern. I don't think there's one point in the game where I've really been like, yeah, you know, Uzi really mispositioned this game, or in this instance, or like, he could have played this spot so much better. I think that his play was like literally almost flawless, given the state of the situation. Maybe like he could have decided to freeze, but the score was like 5-5 or whatever, and they're just gonna go for the Baron. They have enough vision to go for this. So like, I don't think there was a point in the game where like, you know what, he really should be playing a little more passive here, or like, you know, he could have positioned a little better. He chose not to freeze, but that's because he wanted to exert pressure on the map, right? We'll go for the blue flash onto Ballista. Gonna get caught. So yeah, he did a little more shoving, but that's probably because his team was a little more even with the enemy team, like 5-5 or whatever. If his team was like ahead, he would probably freeze, but I can't guarantee that statement. Because you wanna push and roam when you need to impact the map a little more. Got the Karma. Go auto, E auto. Scrying. Get the turret. Get the empowered minions in. And it's gonna be game here. So yeah,
Oh.
I think when I look at games, it's like, what can I do
Unclear.
better, or what can the
Already
player do better? But when I look at this game, I'm like, damn, Uzi played it literally almost flawless. So let me know. Did you see any mistakes? Like, maybe the build was a mistake, but I don't think it's necessarily a mistake if you're snowballing and you can get away with that type of a playstyle because you're that good or whatever. Maybe he had some micro errors. Maybe he missed a cannon. You know, I guess that's his biggest mistake in my mind. So I really want to show this replay to talk about the dominance that you can have as an AD carry if you can just micro perfectly in macro. That's it. Thank you guys for watching. Feel free to follow and like and subscribe here on this YouTube channel.